hospitality is real out here in Houston, and we are having a tremendous time. I want to thank all of you for being here with us. We so appreciate you. What you got?
I feel the need to say something.
Okay.
It's very, very important that I get this off my chest. I looked at the crowd outside, the people that couldn't get in. I mean, damn, we got more people here than the Texans get at the game. I'm just saying. 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 You know,
He is so respectful.
Maybe
we got a better offense.
Maybe there we go. We got a better offense.
All right.
We got a better offense
So
and
now
a
you
better
guys,
quarterback.
You see what I deal with.
You know, I'm just saying.
Thank you. That
I'm just saying.
That I'll take.
All right.
We got a big show in store for you all. I'm so fired up for today. Hall of Famers, you might have heard of them. Barry Sanders. How about Marshall Faulk? And how about two of the best wideouts in the game? We've got Antonio Brown. Maybe we'll be on Facebook Live. And we have A.J. Green, so we're so looking forward.
Let's go.
Let's start with the greatest. Let's get into it, guys. We start with those New England Patriots. And Hall of Fame wide receiver Tim Brown had an interesting take on who the Patriots need to thank for their continued dominance. That was on NFL Network.
I tell people all the time, if Tom Brady would just start out every interview by saying, I want to thank the Oakland Raiders, then I'll be happy. Then, I would let it go. But until that day happens, I'm not going to let it go. Because think about this. If he loses that game, he's a kid that lost a home game to a West Coast team in the snow.
Yeah.
So he's not starting the next year. You know what I mean? Bledsoe is back starting.
I don't know if that's shade, Stephen A., or what exactly it is, but break it down for us. Do the Patriots owe success to the Tuck rule?
Hell yeah. Absolutely. Without question. I said it. There's no doubt. Listen, every great story starts somewhere. Every great story has a starting point. That was clearly highway robbery. There is no doubt in my mind that the New England Patriots should have lost that game. That should have been ruled a fumble. There is no way on earth that John Gruden, Charles Woodson, Tim Brown, and the crew in Oakland should have lost that game because of that bogus rule. It clearly benefited them. Now, don't get me wrong. Nothing takes away from the greatness of the New England Patriots based on what we've seen thereafter. But if we want to sit up here, we have to be consistent as pundits, as commentators, and as fans when we talk about how something starts off, resonates, and what level of importance it has. If we want to sit up there and say it starts somewhere, and you know what, something pivotal happened, and this is what spearheaded the beginning of a dynasty, et cetera, well, what happens if New England does not win that game? I don't believe that Tom Brady would have been on the bench. I don't believe that he's somebody that would not have started, because I thought he had an excellent season once Drew Bledsoe went down back in the day, and he came and performed the way that he did. But at the same time, it still starts somewhere. And if you don't win that game, you don't get to a Super Bowl. And if you don't get to a Super Bowl, guess what? Who knows what's going to happen? Similar, Max, 2 years ago, when Golden State won the championship against the Cleveland Cavaliers. If you recall, at that particular moment in time, it was the Clippers' moment. Why was it the Clippers' moment? You up 3-2 in that Western Conference semifinal series against Houston, okay? You could have beaten the Warriors because they were trying to learn how to win at that particular moment in time. You blow the 19-point lead in Game 6, get outscored 49-9, get blown out of the building, lose Game 7, but Houston was ill-equipped to beat that Golden State Warriors team. They get to the finals, they win it, then they learned how to win, and that had something to do with it. And the Clippers have not been discovered ever since. We don't know what would have happened to the New England Patriots had they failed to win that first go-round, and that's why I think it resonates.
I know exactly what would have happened, because it's obvious, because there's a whole history of facts. You know, when you win as many Super Bowls and do as well as they do every season, there are so many pivotal moments, and consistently the Patriots come out on top in those pivotal moments. If it didn't start that year, and by the way, the rule is actually called correctly, whatever you think about the rule, it had started the next year. And Tom Brady, obviously, as you said early, would have won the job, you know, in training. He was going to be the starting quarterback. You don't wind up the greatest quarterback of all time. You couldn't even beat Drew Bledsoe out for the job. He could, because he was the better quarterback. Even then, Belichick realized it, so he started Tom Brady. Every single dynasty. It's ridiculous. And I know they're kind of trolling the Patriots, and I hate everything Boston. I'm from New York, but you got to give the devil his due. You know, like every dynasty has a million moments where it could go one way or another. Every dynasty catches breaks. Michael Jordan pushed off Brian Russell. Derek Jeter hit a home run that Jeffrey Meyer interfered with, or else it would have been caught in the outfield for an out. 96, that was the Yankees' first World Series win. You telling me if they don't win that World Series that year, their excellence every subsequent year was just going to be something that didn't happen? Of course not. They would have gone on to win World Series. Michael Jordan would have still won the championship. The Patriots would still have a dynasty.
You see, that's where you cross the line right there. First of all, let me understand something. Let's understand something here. Don't you give me any comparison of Brady to Jordan, and I'm going to tell you why. With football 4, Jordan pushed off on Byron Russell. First of all, he already had 3 rings. Let's remember that. Secondly, and more importantly, I recall Michael Jordan not even getting beyond the first round to a point, but he still dropped 63 on Larry Bird and the Celtics in Boston, where Larry Bird called him God disguised as Michael Jordan.
Coming off an injury. That's a straw man. I didn't compare Brady to Jordan. I compared the Patriots dynasty to the Bucks dynasty to
well,
the
you
Yankees
brought up Jordan.
dynasty.
You brought up Jordan. Did you mention Michael Jordan?
Did he get
Did you say the name? Did you say the individual name?
Mike Jordan get a break?
You didn't say the Bulls. You said Michael Jordan.
Well, he's the one who pushed off Brian Russell.
Excuse me, after he had 3 rings.
What's that got to do with anything?
It has everything to do with it. It has nothing to do with it.
So the first one, it can only take place the first time.
If you
catch a break on your first championship.
Don't interrupt me when I'm getting on your point about Michael Jordan.
Finish.
I said to you, if you push off, right? But you're a 3-time champion who was already solidified yourself as the greatest. That is entirely different than a dude on a come-up filling in for an injured Drew Bledsoe, whose breath still smelled like Similac, was still wet behind the ears, hadn't won a damn thing yet, and got the rule called in his favor.
No.
For a dude that hadn't won a damn thing yet?
That rule called in his favor. There was a rule on the book.
It stunk.
That they called correctly. They didn't just invent the rule at that moment or misapply the rule. It was called.
They didn't misapply the rule. He didn't tuck the ball. He didn't tuck the. Really?
Do you think I want to sit here and argue that a team?
Sometimes I wonder about you. Sometimes I wonder about you.
Representing essentially Boston got, cheated or got away with it.
I don't know about you.
And the fact that it happened. What about okay? Let's shift to Derek Jeter and the Yankees. Derek Jeter hit a shot. Jeffrey Meyer caught it. It was called a home run. It probably wouldn't have really been a home run. You're saying that one event led to the Yankees winning 4 World Series?
Not at all.
The Patriots won 4 Super Bowls. No. Not the Super Bowl that year, 4 Super Bowls.
I'm saying your starting point. You have to understand. Let's get back to the Patriots, because the nuance is very, very important here. If the tuck rule doesn't get called in their favor, they may not win the Super Bowl that year.
Maybe.
If they don't win the Super Bowl, no, they would have lost that game.
Right.
Is what I'm saying.
Right.
Because of the tuck rule, because of the time left in the game. Right. So if that, whatever. The point that I'm trying to make to you is, if you don't win the Super Bowl that year, remember, this is the same Bill Belichick that once coached in Cleveland. The security that he may not have had at that particular juncture. Not to mention the fact that Drew Bledsoe was being paid big-time money, and as a result, it might have been harder to justify moving in a forward direction.
You already admitted he was going to have the job the following year.
Because what I'm saying to you is, I believe he would have.
Me
but
too.
What I'm saying is, Kraft, you never, ever know. They can talk now, but back at that particular moment.
So which one is it? Would Brady have had the job, yes or no?
I believe he would have.
Me too.
I believe he would have won
So
it.
you're not crediting the Tuck rule for their dynasty?
No, I'm saying to you that you have to look at the Tuck rule when it comes to the dynasty of the New England Patriots and say they were helped along by the Tuck rule. That's undeniable.
And my point is,
undeniable.
Every single dynasty you want to point to, there came a pivotal moment.
That's
where,
fair.
Without that moment, they'd have 1 fewer championship.
That's fair. Just don't deny that.
What about the other 3 Super Bowls? They weren't going to happen.
I'm just saying.
Just
don't deny the fact that the rule benefited them tremendously.
I won't deny the fact that the refs got the call right helped the Patriots.
I don't believe that.
It's too early for this. I didn't know this was going to start this early. I'm just starting to wake up.
How did you not know? This is what we do.
Since we're talking about, thank you guys, where things started. For Tom Brady, it really started with the Michigan Wolverines, and another former Wolverine quarterback, now the head coach, Jim Harbaugh, saying TB12 is in a class of his own. Take a listen.
Tom Brady is the greatest football player to ever play. When you can play that good that consistently great year after year after year after year, game after game after game.